We may have only seen a little portion of the brand new Mario Kart coming to Switch 2, but there's still so much more to talk about, including the size of the tracks, because a lot of people think that this time around, we might have a more open world Mario Kart experience. And before you freak out hearing those words, open world, don't fret too fast, because it's not exactly what you're hearing. It's a lot different in terms of Mario Kart, and I'll explain what I mean here in a second. But before we get started, thank you for over 400 brand new subscribers on yesterday's video. If we continue to get these amounts of subscribers, then I'll do a little something special for you each day. Last time I danced for you guys, but this time I'm gonna give you guys my biggest memories of Nintendo Switch before we move on to Switch 2. So yes, today we'll start off with my first big memory of the Nintendo Switch. This is one of my first and biggest memories of Switch 1 is watching the Nintendo Switch presentation in January and actually seeing the reveal of Super Mario Odyssey. At the time, I only had memories of reacting to Mario 3D World, so when I finally had another chance to react to this, I was completely blown away because I didn't even know it was Mario. I remember at the time I was definitely thinking it was Splatoon still because of the cityscape and everything, and then Mario popping out of the manhole cover and seeing him run around a realistic New York was one of the craziest things I'll ever experience. I remember feeling so overwhelmed, and we didn't even know the main mechanic of capturing at the time. Just seeing Mario throw his hat and bounce off of it and jump around the city. I think I watched that trailer maybe 700 times, and that's before I even really started the channel. It was crazy and one of the greatest times I've ever had being a Nintendo fan. So if you guys want to continue the list and go through all my Switch 1 memories each video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe, and let's see how many we can get on today's video. Thank you guys, and on to the video. So what is this Mario Kart open world thing even coming from? Well, in the trailer, we see that we actually get 24 possible racers at once this time around, which is the most the series has ever had, normally capping off at 12. So with double the amount of racers, clearly we're going to need double the amount of track, because if you look at all the tracks from all Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, not a lot of them are that wide open. There's a couple with multiple lanes like Toad's Turnpike, but for the most part, lots of them are really skinny, narrow pathways, and it would be kind of hard to have 24 racers on those tracks. Like, could you imagine 24 racers on Mario Kart 8's Baby Park? Literal headache. But I do believe every track will be adjusted. For instance, if there's any tracks coming back, or if Nintendo in fact does have a new Baby Park, they're probably going to be modified to be extended and a lot wider to allow all 24 racers to have enough room on the track. So these tracks in all are probably going to be a lot different than anything that we've ever experienced before, meaning almost every single track is probably going to be a lot more open. So if we go back to the trailer, we can see this road that literally extends far off into the background. But not only that, look how many lanes there are. There's 2 lanes of traffic going both ways, and that's a lot of track. I mean, one of the biggest roadways that we've seen so far. There's a couple of city tracks coming from Tour and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe that has some pretty wide roadways, but still, this one's massive, and not only that, it extends beyond the road. If you look in the dirt on the left and the right sides of this highway, you can see ramps and what looks like to be more areas to actually drive our carts. There really doesn't seem to be a barrier, unless there's an invisible one that eventually will pop up if you go too far. You can even see traffic barrels kind of opening that section up, allowing you to go over there probably with a mushroom. I don't know if we'll be able to drive on the dirt in the same way we could on the actual road. Are we going to need mushrooms to go over there? It's really hard to say, but you can even see some guardrails on the outside of the guardrails from the road. Not to mention a whole pit stop area for the Yoshi Diner area, which allows you to go through the drive-thru and pick up some magical glowing bag item. It seems to be a bag of food with steam coming out of it, and also it has a lane behind the burger joint as well, which might allow us to go back there for some reason also, because there seems to be an open slot. So why would someone want to go back there? Maybe there's another item or something special back there, but once again, allowing so many different paths. There's even a giant dirt road that goes right through the middle of the track from the left and the right sides, and there's even like little pegs on the side of that road as well. For some reason, looks like it could actually be, once again, another alternate path, or maybe a path that we take later on in the race, but there does seem to be, at least on the right side, a guardrail blocking that section. So maybe it's just for show, maybe, once again, it opens up later on in the race for a second lap or something. It's really hard to say. Either way, but if you look ahead, that path is still very long up there. I mean, the road goes way off into the background, so I don't know what's going on here. One of the greatest examples we have of this is Yoshi's Valley, which literally comes from Mario Kart 64. Yeah, it's been that long that this track has made appearances, and of course it's in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe as well. It's a path with multiple branching paths that allows you to choose your own way around. Of course, there's a more meta path that allows you to go through it faster, and maybe other paths that give you more items and stuff like that, but this is something that was always pretty daggone interesting to me. And I really wish we had more tracks like this, but I feel like the problem is balancing tracks like this, because there needs to be a reward for choosing different paths. Because personally, I think that's the biggest problem with Yoshi's Valley, is that no one's going to pick the path that's less driven, the path that's longer, and the path that just has no items on it. So lots of people are going to pick that same path to the left every single time if they know this game enough and know that it's the fastest way around. The concept of this track is really fascinating to me, because it's not just everyone driving in the same way. You can choose where you want to go and how you want to, approach each race. So when I hear the words open world Mario Kart, I'm not necessarily thinking, oh, a giant interconnected world that we can traverse, kind of like Breath of the Wild or anything like that. Although for a story mode, that would be pretty cool. I mean, come on, can't we all admit that? A small open world to drive around in? That's for another video. But simply just to have more, alternate paths and more places to drive on bigger tracks sounds like a dream come true, and maybe that's exactly what they're kind of going for with this next Mario Kart game, where anybody can actually jump up into the lead by taking a shortcut or an extra path, and you can actually spread out the racers a lot more than having them all hurtle together for the entire race. But let's go back to that story mode thing. What if there actually was some type of open world kind of story mode or mission-based mode or something along those lines that allowed us to drive around a giant world and maybe doing challenges, doing quick little races, and we just drive around in the cart doing everything? Could you imagine how cool that would be? Or if they could actually connect all the tracks in the game and allow us to just drive around them? What if that's why we see all those extended paths? What if in a separate side mode there's no guardrails and we're able to just drive around in all these areas, meet up with NPCs, accept races, maybe even boss battles along the open world, and maybe just drive and find challenges everywhere, kind of Diddy Kong Racing style, but obviously with a bigger, more grander open world to drive around in. This could be amazing. And imagine if friends could join your lobbies and just drive around together doing things. Oh my gosh, you could play like hide and seek, you could just have like a little battle, you could set up your own little games and stuff and just collect items and hit each other with shells. There could be so much that you could do, man, and I'm just thinking about the possibilities, and it doesn't just have to be racing with this game. I think that's one thing that of course I'll get into in another video, but this game should have lots of side modes that's not just about racing. I mean, yes, we've always had battle mode, but I'm thinking something else entirely, more of a open world story mode, some huge campaign or something that we can just casually drive around and play in. This has me thinking of the game Riders Republic, which is a game that I played for a very long time where you could skateboard, snowboard, ski, even fly around in the air with a wingsuit and even ride bikes. It was really a really cool game where you just had this giant free roam mode where you could go around in this giant open world and just kind of drive around, do tricks, play around in this park. And it was awesome. It's something that I think would be really cool to have for Mario Kart. Obviously not as huge and not as dynamic as that game, but something more safe and smaller where you could just drive around and, like I said, accept challenges, race NPCs, and just do little mission mode stuff like you could in Mario Kart DS, but this time tied to characters in an open world that you have to go find in order to accept them. This could be so cool, and I'm really hoping there's something big like this that Nintendo is hiding and keeping in store for a big reveal. Whatever Nintendo is planning, it looks like it's going to be a bigger, grander Mario Kart experience, and I can't wait to see what they've been cooking. Let me know in the comments down below what you would love to see with a bigger, more open Mario Kart game, and if you would even want to see that at all. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe before you head out, and thank you so much for tuning in. Like always, I'll see you all on the next one. See you guys.